What's up, everybody? Sorry, I was just making sure on the recorded screen my shit was squared away. It's Team Adventurous. Sorry we have been MIA. We've been moving.
Yeah.
We're back with more reaction content, though. Do you watch The Critical Drinker? Because I watched The Critical Drinker. He posted this yesterday, and I want to hear what he has to say about Marvel imploding. So let's go.
And if you don't watch him, you should.
You should.
Well, it finally happened, dear viewer. The shill media finally grew a spine and turned against their corporate overlords yesterday with an explosive new article from Variety titled simply, Crisis at Marvel. And really, I think crisis is probably the best word to describe their current situation.
What was the full title there? Jonathan Majors' backup plans, the Marvels reshoots. More problems. Yeah, I don't know why they thought a solo film featuring Mrs. Unlikable was a good idea. It's like, bro, why'd you think that was a good idea?
Crisis at Marvel. And really, I think crisis is probably the best word to describe their current situation. After a string of box office flops and underperformers, coupled with an endless sludge pipe of forgettable Disney Plus shows that fewer and fewer people watch or care about, it really feels like all of their past mistakes, problems and flaws have reached critical mass in the past few months, and now there's just no hiding from it anymore. The article covers a lot of ground at great length, so I'm not going to read the whole thing here, but it does touch on all of the major issues facing the MCU right now, with a shocking amount of honesty. There's no real attempt to sugarcoat it or sweep the problems under the rug anymore. This is a straight up laundry list of all of Kevin Feige's biggest headaches. And damn man, judging by the size of that head, he must have quite...
Just like, we know why your hairline is receding, sir. I mean, just consider the expression on his face right there.
I love that someone photoshopped in the tic-tac-toe game.
But that face right there. that
He
is
looks like he's in pain.
Yes, and like he's questioning all of his decisions.
He looks like he has a doctor's finger up his ass right now. It looks like his prostate is just like the size of a grapefruit. That doctor is just like, I'm sorry, sir. I'm sorry. You definitely have stage 3 prostate cancer. Don't we need some tests to oh, no. I've had my finger on many a prostate. You're literally going to be dead in like 3 weeks, bro. I'm sorry. I'm not going to sugarcoat this. This is ridiculous. You should feel this thing.
He's like, where did I go wrong phase?
Probably all that cocaine up your ass. Might have had something to do with it. Boofing all those drugs at the Hollywood parties, you know what I'm saying?
No.
They know how to party in Hollywood, but it has its consequences, Caitlin. It has its consequences.
Yep, like that forehead.
A few going on. Headache number 1 is Kang, specifically the actor playing him. As the article itself says, the most pressing issue to be discussed at the retreat was what to do about Jonathan Majors, the actor that's been poised to carry the next phase of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but instead is headed to a high-profile trial in New York later this month on domestic violence charges. The actor insists that he's the victim, but the damage to his reputation and the chance he could lose the case has forced Marvel to reconsider its plans to center the next phase of its interlocking slate of sequels, spin-offs, and series around Major's villainous character, Kang the Conqueror. The thing the author doesn't seem to understand, though, is that it honestly doesn't matter what happens to Jonathan Majors. Whether he's found guilty or innocent isn't going to change the fact that Kang is a fundamentally shit villain, both in concept and execution, and Marvel completely fumbled his introduction anyway. The first time he showed up was in a Disney...
I actually don't think the concept is bad. I don't think Kang as a concept is a bad villain. A dude who unites with all of the multi-dimensional versions of himself to essentially conquer the multiverse. Like, that's a pretty cool concept for a villain, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, as an idea, that's cool. I just think the execution was very poorly done.
I mean, there were aspects about his introduction in Quantum Mania that definitely were lacking. I would... Could it have been done better? Yeah, I don't think it was a complete fumble. I don't know. Maybe I'm just too forgiving.
I think part of it suffered from the fact that it was they have an issue with taking for granted that people are going to just go read the source material to get all of their development instead of actually doing the job and developing the character, and I think that's part of what made...
Yeah, I think there's some truth to that. I think they do, and I think they don't even realize they're doing it as a thing.
Yeah.
That I really think that they don't even realize that they're not fully developing these characters. It's like they're in this really weird place where consciously they're like, oh yeah, these are stand on their own movies separate from the comics, but unconsciously they're like, everyone's already read the comics. I don't need to fill this in. Like,
right, yeah.
It's like they don't even realize they're shooting themselves in the foot, I think.
Yeah, because they've gotten so in the habit of just phoning it in that's just what they continue to do now.
Mm-hmm.
Plus show that not many people watched or cared about. He was killed off after a single episode, and then he got his ass kicked by Ant-Man of all people in his first movie. The fact that there's an infinite number of him out there in the multiverse removes any sense of stakes or investment in the guy, because ultimately, every variant of him is just another disposable stooge that can be replaced at a moment's notice. The human mind isn't really designed to think of characters and conflicts in infinite multiversal terms, and because there's no centralized definitive version to focus on, he's not even a character so much as a force of nature. It's like a hero trying to fight a tidal wave. It doesn't have any emotional resonance because there's no personal connection between them. Like, remember when Cap and Iron Man fought each other in Civil War, and even though it was basically just two guys going at it and the fate of the entire universe wasn't at stake, it still meant a lot because we as an audience knew and understood where both men were coming from. That was nice. I like that. And I think even Marvel have begun to realize the problem they've created for themselves. Marvel is truly fucked with the whole Kang angle, and they haven't had an opportunity to rewrite it until very recently, but I don't see a path to how they can move forward with him. Neither do I, top dealmaker guy, and I don't think Marvel do either. It's a perfect example of raising the stakes and
He doesn't think Marvel do.
until they've become so ludicrously, unfathomably high that they basically leave their own audience behind.
Jeez.
Then there's the Marvels.
Oh my god. Yeah. That's what I was thinking.
That's a spicy meatball!
I love... That's what went through my head.
Couldn't have said it better
That's
myself.
what he played.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Oh,
Shit, man, you don't need me or Variety to tell you how this one's shaping up. It's a movie about a bunch of characters nobody cares about, played by a bunch of actresses nobody particularly likes, doing a thing nobody understands, while fighting a villain that nobody's ever heard of. Not exactly a winning formula. Directed by Nia DaCosta, The Marvels unites Larson's heroine with two superpowered allies, Monica Rambeau and Kamala Khan. But instead of seamlessly building on the success of Captain Marvel, this movie resulted in 4 weeks of reshoots to bring coherence to a tangled storyline. Then eyebrows were raised again when DaCosta began working on another film.
I'm very concerned when I hear took 4 weeks of reshoots to bring coherence to a storyline that was even tangled by their standards.
Right.
It's like, oh wow,
Yeah.
even the idiots in the writer's room could tell that this thing was fucked, because make no mistake, that's what Marvel writers are at this point.
Yeah.
They're phoning it in. They're either terrible at their jobs or not trying at their jobs.
No.
So if even they were able to look at this and be like, fuck, then you know that shit was bad.
Well, that just makes me think of the whole She-Hulk situation, because the season that you got for She-Hulk was a complete redo.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Imagine shooting a whole season of something, and then you're like, wow, this is this is dog shit, guys. We not only can we literally have to do better than this.
Right, yeah.
And then you repolish it, redress it, and it's still a pile of dog shit.
It's like, oh, if you think this is bad, you should have seen what we did before. Oh no.
While The Marvels was still in post-production, the filmmaker moved to...
Out of morbid curiosity.
You'd want to see the original?
Yeah. I do.
I'd sit down for... I haven't watched the actual one that got released, but I'd sit down and watch the original version.
Yes.
I would.
London earlier this year to begin prepping for our Tessa Thompson drama, Hedda. Sounds like a fucking blast. If you're directing a $250 million movie, it's kind of weird for the director to leave with a few months to go. Even the most committed Marvel shills seem to be mysteriously silent on this one. Yeah. It's like they know what's coming.
It's a fray!
Another problem of their own making is content oversaturation and the corresponding decline in quality. It really began to bite during the pandemic when they started churning out shows onto Disney Plus and never really let up. The constant pace of development on so many different projects at the same time spread their talent and resources too thin, and well, the result was obvious. Almost everything looks and feels rushed, unfinished, and shit now because basically it is. The so-called bad VFX we see
quality. Yeah.
Is because of half-baked.
Flood the market. It works with money so good. Let's do it with content. Oh wait, flooding the market never works. It's literally always a failing strategy. When you do it with houses, it fails. When you do it with money, it fails. When you do it with content, it fails. Right. Stop fucking flooding the markets, assholes!
Well, they were like, look at what Netflix is doing. Look at this huge mistake they're making. We should do that.
We made the same mistakes. Made the same mistakes. God, what the fuck? I'm forgetting the lyric. Until the day I die. There, God, that was embarrassing. Just the most awkwardest pod. I was like, fuck. Internally, I was having a meltdown. I was like, bro, why can't I remember this right now? This was like the anthem of my childhood, basically. Oh.
Back to the show after this quick appearance by Alzheimer's.
God, I hope not. If I have Alzheimer's already, just fucking kill me.
Scripts. That's not Victoria, that's Kevin. And even above Kevin, those issues should be addressed in pre-production. The timeline's not allowing the Marvel executives to sit with the material. The Marvel machine was pumping out a lot of content. Did it get to the point where there was just too much and they were burning out people on superheroes? It's possible. The more you do, the tougher it is to maintain quality. Damn, the article even mentions the disastrous Blade movie, a project that's now gone through at least 5 different writers, 2 directors, and ended up being shut down completely just 6 weeks before production was due to start. One person familiar with the script permutations says the story at one point morphed into a narrative led by women and filled with life lessons. Blade was relegated to the 4th leads.
Yeah. Am I surprised? Are you surprised?
They couldn't even, it's like, bro, he's already a black kid from a poor neighborhood who was born half vamp. He's twice discriminated and impoverished. You already had enough DEI points with that one, bro.
Right.
You didn't need to add more diversity and inclusion to that one. It was already a story about a fucking disadvantaged kid who had everything going against him and grew up to be a badass hero.
Right.
And they couldn't even just take the wit. All you had to do was fucking make it just some sexy vampires and Blade walks in, cuts off their fucking heads, a fucking badass bloody battle at the end, some bullshit about how Blade like found his true value or something if it's an origin story or what. Like, it's so fucking easy, Caitlin.
Right, yeah. But no.
Oh my goodness, imagine my shock that a Marvel movie with a male lead would push him into the background in favour of a female-centric story that preaches moral lessons
Imagine
to the
that.
audience.
Imagine
Put a
that.
chick in it, make her gay. I believe I asked you to put a chick in this and make her gay. Put a chick in it and make it fucking gay as fuck.
You know, it's actually kind of funny to see mainstream outlets finally
Wow.
wake up to this shit.
How did,
yeah, people
how
like me
did
have...
how did he get footage of Kathleen Kennedy?
That's a very good question. You know, he has been doing this for a while. He might have some people on the inside. He might have some people inside the industry who were able to get some of these candid shots, because that was great. That was impressive.
Yeah.
Been saying this for years now, and their points are so in line with my own, it almost makes you wonder if they've been taking a few notes, but whatever. Better late than never, I guess. I think even Marvel are starting to grasp the full magnitude of the disaster they've created themselves, and now they're scrambling to fix it. I mean, it's probably too little too late, but at least they're trying. The troubled Blade movie now has a whole new writing team and a vastly reduced budget, which is probably for the best. The days of billion-dollar box office hauls are long behind you, and they ain't coming back. Daredevil was scrapped halfway through filming because it was so shit that even Marvel weren't prepared to release it, and this is coming from the company that thought She-Hulk was good enough for public consumption.
You know I'm the hottest, you ain't never gotta hit me if I'm
There's even rumors that shows like
To my audience, I would like to apologize for that brief clip of She-Hulk that you were just force-fed by this video. I'm sincerely sorry. I had no idea he was going to show that. If you unsubscribe, listen, I understand. I'm asking you not to, but if you do, I understand, and I wish you well, Traveler, because that was unacceptable that you had to see that clip of She-Hulk. Frankly,
So sorry.
I'm injured by that. Like, I'm wounded deeply, and I may never recover. So if you do choose to go, I understand.
Ironheart might be on the chopping block, because really, who exactly wants or needs to see a cheap derivative knockoff of the most popular hero in the entire MCU? Speaking of which, the article leaves the best for last with this little revelation about their upcoming plans. You know how I made a video recently about modern movies being shit because nobody can ever stay dead? Well, sources say there's been talks to bring back the original gang for an Avengers movie. This would include reviving Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man and Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow, both of whom were killed off in Endgame.
Wow.
Black Widow
In comic are often killed off only thanks to the power of things like the multiverse, but the studio hasn't committed to the idea. It wouldn't come cheap. Upfront salary for was around. Wow.
Widow, both of whom were killed off in Endgame.
Fuck.
You know, Lawler and I have actually joked about this exact thing on Open Bar multiple times, and both of us agreed that the moment they decided to bring back the original Avengers, that was the sign that the MCU was officially fucked. It's the final desperate move of a studio that's completely out of creative ideas and can't think of any other way to generate even a shred of interest. And the thing is, I suspect it wouldn't even be worth it even if they tried it. Not only would it cost an absolute fortune to bring back actors like Robert Downey Jr. and Scarlett Johansson, both of whom are getting older and don't seem all that excited to step in front of the volume screen again, but it also wouldn't generate the kind of excitement they're hoping for. Yeah, there's still a few Marvel stands out there that would whoop and clap like mindless seals at the return of a few legacy characters, probably the same people who shit their pants over a few seconds of a plastic-looking Hayden Christensen in Ahsoka, but most normal people would see it.
I like how he just straight up directly calls them out. Like, in case my language wasn't clear enough, these are the fucking simps
Right.
I'm talking about. Make no mistake, it's these beta males right here.
These guys.
For exactly what it is, a desperate gimmick, a final Hail Mary to try to shake people out of their apathy towards this franchise. And apathy is the key word here. Apathy is the final stage of franchise death. There was a time when even I was invested enough in the MCU that I actually cared about how it was being mismanaged. I got pissed off at seeing my favourite characters get slowly tarnished or replaced by inferior copies. But now I can't even summon up any kind of emotion about it, and I suspect a lot of other people feel the same. Times have changed and they've moved on to other things now. What used to be a cultural event that had everyone talking and speculating and debating about what might come next and eagerly awaiting the next installment has slowly become a faintly embarrassing relic of a different time, like watching your drunken dad trying to dance to Beyonce at a wedding. Dated and unfashionable and out of touch with its own audience. Unable or unwilling to adapt to a changing market. And you know what? I've got no sympathy for them because they pretty much brought this on themselves.
Yep.
They had the world at their...
No. Don't couch it. Don't couch it. They did bring this on themselves. The constant woke bullshit. The constant insistence on milking every IP. This spinoff, that spinoff. Giving shows to characters that were only marginally interesting at best. Like, dude, Falcon is okay. No one wanted a spinoff featuring him as Captain America. No one asked for that. No one wanted it. I don't know what its viewership was like. I imagine it was pretty bad. And things like She-Hulk, okay? That was a layup, bro. It would have been so easy to make that show work. You know how many teenage boys filled their sock drawer with crusty relics over She-Hulk, bro? Like, you had a built-in fan base that would have gobbled up every episode and bought all the merch. All you had to do was make it about a sexy Titan fucking up bad guys. But no, you hired a team of third-wave femtards to make it about the struggle. It is entirely Marvel's fault, and it was entirely preventable.
Feet back in 2019, and if they'd just taken a moment to catch their breath and plan their next move properly, they probably could have had another 10 years of successful movies. But their greed, hubris, and growing obsession with the message, instead of good storytelling, undid it in just a few short years. They were the architects of their own downfall, and now there's no hiding from it anymore.
Within their own iniquities, bore the seeds of their destruction.
Yep.
Factulations. 420.
Longer. The MCU is dead and Marvel killed it. And
Yep.
yet, the one thing I keep asking myself about this article is, why now? Why release such a devastating expose on Marvel right after that infamous South Park episode poking fun at Kathleen Kennedy? Could there possibly be a connection between the two? It almost feels like a little bit of intentional misdirection, shifting the focus from one failing Disney studio head to another. Almost as if someone in a position of power and influence doesn't want us talking about Kennedy, her numerous failures at Lucasfilm, and her public humiliation at the hands of Parker and Stone. But hey, I'm sure this is all just a total coincidence. Right? Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Go away now.
There's nothing anyone can say to convince me that Kathleen Kennedy isn't sucking all of the right balls. Like, that is the only justification for her continuing to have a job in that industry. Like, she is garbling fat knob, bro. Mm-hmm. So, that's my opinion about her.
That's the only thing that makes sense.
It's the only thing that makes sense.
Why George was like, she's the most gifted person I could possibly pass this torch to.
She's got a hell of a tongue. Reaches all the way to the prostate. I've never seen that in a woman before.
You'd be like, well, that's because it's not a woman.
She's a lizard person, George! You're getting your dirt pipe cleaned out by a lizard person! We'll see you on the next adventure.